tracking for you today from the startup world. Now, Ather Energy recently launched its new family scooter, Rizta, which will be priced at around 1 lakh rupees. Its CEO Tarun Mehta told my colleague Parikshit Luthra that they cannot afford to get aggressive with pricing because of the government's cut in subsidy for electric vehicles. He also said that rizta will play a major role for the company's growth going ahead.
See, 450 was the foundation for everything that we did at Ather, because that's a product on which we perfected the tech, perfected the operations, and got our quality right. But as a product, 450 is a performance scooter. Performance scooters are significantly smaller in addressable market. So for years, we'd been thinking of launching a family scooter, because in India, especially up north and west, our experience says for people, scooter is about family. Like, you buy a scooter because you're thinking of a family use case. So we wanted to build one. We had this in mind long time. When 450 got to a great place with Apex, we kind of figured this is a fantastic time to launch our first family scooter.
How big is the market size? You must have done a lot of surveys. How much do you expect this scooter to incrementally contribute to your sales?
So it depends on how you define it, but we look at performance scooters and we feel family scooters are somewhere in the range of about 80 to 85% of the scooter market of India. So it's really the vast majority of the scooter market. We feel with this, well, obviously we are not the pioneers in family scooter. We are coming late to the party. But I think with the kind of technology we're bringing in, you saw all the features that we're launching today, the kind of size it has, the kind of space it has, the kind of software it has. We feel this can be quite a successful product there. I personally feel this can be larger than the 450 business in the coming year.
Give us a sense of how much capacity would you be allocating for the 450 scooters, the Apex scooter, and now for the family scooter. How many more units are you going to be producing per month now as a result of the family scooter?
No, that'll be demand dictated. One thing that we built very strongly as a muscle over the last several years is operational capability. We feel that we can respond to demand at a very short notice. We anyways have this entire pre-order concept. So I think over the next 2 months, even before we begin deliveries, we'll get a very strong understanding of what kind of demand we should anticipate, we are looking at. To now increase capacity is probably a reasonably shorter process for Ather. So even on the line, for example, we've got a fair bit of fungibility. So running Rizta and running 450 are not like heavens and poles, like they're not poles apart. We can do very quick changes. Overall, I feel we will have enough capacity for this calendar year. Next year is too far out to predict.
How difficult was it to keep the pricing within 1,10,000 for the entry-level variant, and 1,25,000 and 1,45,000 for the top variants?
Pretty challenging, especially with subsidies coming down just a few days ago. We had a lot of extensive debates on how to land the pricing, but I think the feedback was pretty clear, and we are pretty clear that with Rizta, we want to expand into a larger addressable market. Prices have to be more competitive than the 450. Yeah, I think a lot of credit goes to our design and ops teams, because the market prices, we don't drive them. Consumers tell us. So we've got to work our way backwards. And 450 is on its own place because it has its own following, and it's a more premium product. I think with this, we had to start from a price target first. So it was hard, but I think teams have pulled off some real miracle.
But the path to profitability for the EV sector, including companies like yours, has that gotten longer with the subsidies getting tapered down? With this interim EV scheme that we're seeing for 4 months, the subsidies have again come down from 22,000 to 10,000 rupees.
Right.
And the idea now is to keep subsidies maximum for 2-3 more years.
Yeah. So I think I think a little differently about it now. I think subsidies play a very crucial role in driving near-term demand and in reducing losses for companies trying to fulfill that demand. But I think subsidies play no role in actual profitability, because if you are profitable with subsidies underlining it, especially direct consumer subsidies, then I think it's a false profitability. So at Ather, we don't model profitability timelines wherein there is still a subsidy. So you're profitable only if you're making enough margin that even if there is no subsidy, you're sort of still viable. Subsidies can't dictate profitability timelines. You've got to be profitable without subsidies. What the reduction of subsidies has done is it's increased the losses for EV companies in that journey, because the end state is all the same. Even without subsidies, you make enough money to be profitable. Now, do you get there with, like, let's say 1,000 crores of loss, or 2,000 crores of loss, or 3,000 crores of loss? I think that's a moving scene with every subsequent subsidy cut. And the downward pressure that it creates is every time there's a subsidy cut, you sign up for more losses on your journey. And when you have more losses, to balance it better, you can't get very aggressive with pricing. I think that's what keeps happening.
Does this reduction in subsidy, which has come into effect from the 1st of April, does this put pressure to increase prices? Would you be increasing prices for some of your models?
Yeah, we did. We have to. I think...
You've already done that?
Yeah, we've announced, right? Yeah, we've announced. We were able to absorb a lot of the subsidy pullback last year, but there's not enough margin left to absorb more now. So we still did. I think we absorbed roughly half of it, but we passed on roughly, like on blended basis, I think we passed on half of the subsidy cut to the consumer. So prices have gone up by 5,000 rupees.
Okay. Now, going forward, do you expect the EV sales to contract?
I think April would likely be a contraction, purely because March saw, in my opinion, a little bit of an artificial jump up because there was demand being pulled forward. That aside, I don't think the market should contract. That'll be a bit surprising if that happens. I don't think people will increase prices by so much that the market actually starts dropping.
By when would you be ready for a zero subsidy scenario?
I'm a firm believer the market still needs subsidy for at least a couple of more years. I think every time we reduce subsidy, we sort of delay growth. We've already had 3-4 quarters of practically no growth for the industry, or very limited growth. I think we need a little bit of stability at these price levels, at these subsidy levels, for enough growth to come in, enough volume to build up. So I believe that I'm of the opinion that the subsidy should stay for at least a couple more years.
Give us your total growth figures for FY24. How much are you looking to grow in FY25?
For FY25, I think Rista's got to drive most of it. So yeah, you're right to your first question. Banking a lot on Rizta this year.